All right, what's going on, everybody? We are getting ready to do another random visit update. Not only do we do the random visits with total strangers, I also try to do updates in relation to them as well. And the one that I'm going to try to do here today is with the Brittany woman that we did just recently. And, she shared a little bit about her case. I didn't know anything about it. Again, these are completely random. And there were some people who reached out and were able to find that her case was actually kind of high profile, involving child abuse. And it was her and her boyfriend, I guess, who were arrested for this. I'm actually trying to I'm trying to brush up on this story real quick. It says aggravated child abuse case ends with a suspended sentence. Even more, and this was in 2017. So I believe that she's locked up for these probation violations from this original charge. And maybe she brought back drugs. I'm not sure. We're going to talk a little bit more about her case today. I'm going to try to talk about that. But as I'm trying to brush up on this, no confidence submit. Okay. I was going to make a mention that I had to allow an ad. It doesn't. And then, of course, it was an ad that was a questionnaire, and it said, how much confidence do you have in, the government? It was weird. In 2017, a Rock Springs woman pleaded no contest in August to aggravated child abuse and received a suspended 8 to 15-year sentence. She mentioned that. Brittany Takadina, 22 years old at the time, was sentenced November 6th in the Sweetwater County 3rd District. In addition to the suspended prison sentence, Takadina received 5 years of supervised probation with credit for 113 days served. She was ordered to check into a treatment facility, attend counseling, and pay $595 in court and public defender fees. She was charged in 2016 along with Justin Higbee, I guess that was the boyfriend, the baby daddy, for beating and shaking Takadina's 1-month-old infant. You got to peep this as well. I know a lot of people said that this girl had a horrible case. She does have a horrible case. I'm never going to sit here and try to justify or spin this. But there was a boyfriend involved in this as well, a baby daddy. And I don't know who did this shaking. Maybe, she's going to tell us it was him. He would probably tell us it was her. Higbee was sentenced on September the 7th, 2017, and received an 8 to 15-year sentence as well, with all but 1 year suspended to be served at the Sweetwater County Detention Center. So he only got a year for that. And that's what we got right here. Now, let me say this as well. I know a lot of people said, this girl had a horrible charge. She does. There was another party involved. She said that it was the other guy. He would probably say it was her. Somebody had even made a comment and said, Joe, when you find out somebody's got those type of bad charges, you should just hang up on them. Well, I didn't know at the time. And to be honest, I want to hear their side of the story. If I can get somebody with the bad type of charges, I'm sure I'm going to eventually. So I'm not going to justify it and say, hey, you're a swell person or anything like that. People do some messed up things. The girl, Brittany, said that drugs were a part of her story. Maybe it was her that did it when she was high. Shook the baby or whatnot. But let's see if we can get her on the line. And God, I hope we can get her on the line. Hey there, how you doing?
Hey.
It looks dark in there. They got the lights off?
No. The sun's shining right on me.
Oh, yeah, I can see that now. Hey, how you been doing?
I'm okay.
I sent you the $20, right? I put that up there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that you got that. So, look, it's good to be able to talk with you again. Let me share a couple of things with you. And I want to do an update with you, I guess. Are you there?
With what? Yeah.
All right. So, first of all, I did the video. I put the video up featuring you. And there were a bunch of people who reached out to me wanting to write to you. I can't even tell you how many it was. It was probably at least 10. Now, that's not a guarantee that everybody's going to write to you, but it's my hope that you at least get some pen pal support in there.
Yeah.
So another thing, and all right, I'm going to try to do this. Let me just say it like this. So when I put the video up, I don't know a thing about you at all. And these are random. And you shared with me a little bit of your story of, you were candid about that. You shared what you were locked up for. Anyways, people on the internet, it don't take much. I guess they could Google your name. They knew your name.
Yeah.
So there was stories that popped up about your case.
Yeah.
And I've brushed up on that. I just got done reading a story about your case. And, people were some people, I guess, were, saying what anybody would say, that those are very horrible charges.
I agree.
I think that they're horrible as well. But I also read that, it was not just you who was arrested, and you shared with us about your kid's father.
Yeah.
So first of all, let me say this. I saw that your case, it took place back in 2016, right?
Yeah, it did.
And you've been on probation with this 8 to 15 ever since.
Correct.
So you got locked up this time, and you mentioned that you brought back new charges, and I'm guessing that those new charges, I could be wrong about this, or maybe you shared that, and I'm just trying to remember. I'm guessing you brought back some kind of a drug charge, or what's the new charge that you brought back? Drug charge?
Yeah, it's the possession charge.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to get right to the point about this, because I think that this would definitely give some clarity on this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a son and you've got a daughter, correct?
Right.
It was the daughter that the case revolved around.
Yes.
Just for perspective, are both of your kids by the same guy? Or, I mean, not that it matters. I'm just curious about that.
Two different dads. So my daughter's dad lives in Elko, Nevada, and I had met my son's dad when I moved here. I was pregnant with my daughter.
And the daughter, again, that's what the case revolves around. The baby's daddy, that's the guy Higbee, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want this to seem like any type of an interrogation, because that's not what I'm trying to do, so forgive me. I want to just get some clarification. Let me ask you this off tops. You've got a very horrible charge that you're on probation for, that you're locked up and dealing with a probation violation for. How do you feel about that particular charge?
The one that I'm on probation for, the one with my daughter?
Yes.
I mean, I've had to do some therapy and stuff like that, because I didn't lose my daughter to death, but it's like I still lost my daughter.
Because she ended up getting put up for adoption, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean. No, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I was just pretty much saying I've stuffed my feelings and stuff so much, and just tried. That's why I use drugs.
Look, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't know anything about. I don't have children. I'm not a woman. You were a woman, a mother who went through this and ended up getting charged, and ended up getting a pretty high profile case as well, because it was all over the news. At least it can be found on the internet. You went through this situation, and it certainly seems like that's fucked you up.
Yeah.
Now, you also shared with me, I want to also reiterate this fact. You also shared with me during the first visit that you came home and your daughter was unconscious. And, it's a pretty safe bet, or at least it's seeming that way, that it was this dude that shook this infant.
Correct.
But you didn't tell nobody, and because of that, you got implicated in this. So
I don't think it had to do with me not going to anybody about it. I think it had more the fact that I didn't have anywhere to go, so I stayed at his house for 8 months after the fact, is why the cops or the detectives had stated that they can either think that I knew what he was doing or that I had a part in it.
How did anybody find, and I hate the way that this is going to sound, but I'm just curious. You came home, he had shook the baby. You said the baby was unconscious. How did anybody find out that there was an issue with the child? Like, was it a doctor's visit? Like, were there bruises or marks?
No, so she was unconscious. I rushed her to the hospital. And so they gave her Narcan. So they thought that maybe it was my breast milk was the reason why she went unconscious, because Narcan woke her up. Well, they ended up flying her to Salt Lake City to do more testing. And that's where the Dr. Lasky did her testing, and where she had seen some, I don't know if they were necessarily broken, but I know there were fractured bones. I know that's where she had seen that. And then the brain swelling is where they told me, because so when we were in Rock Springs, they did about 46 x-rays on her here and a couple CTs before they even life flighted her, and told us that she had no broken bones, she was good to fly. So then when she got to Salt Lake, there was all these other things just being flown at me, I guess.
Look, let me say this as well. This is a lot to hear, and I got to imagine it's even more to share. So,
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you share these things, but you don't have to. I want you to know that if you don't want to talk about these things, we don't talk about these things. But I want to ask one more question, and then I'm going to move on completely from this. You mentioned that they gave her Narcan because of your breast milk. Did they find drugs in her system? And if they did that come from your breast milk?
No, so I was on a few medications after I gave birth to her, and I was breastfeeding. There was no drugs in her system. There was only whatever, I think it was depression medicine I was taking, sleep medicine, and then anxiety medicine.
Well, I was just curious about that because you mentioned the Narcan.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about all of that. Well, one other thing, and forgive me for this. We had talked about also, did your charges ever pose an issue for you being locked up, like if anybody found out? But since we've done that, and I've seen that anybody can just go and Google you and find out, are there people that, huh?
It was also, so when I first got put in jail and in population, it was on the front page of the newspaper for the Rock Springs, and we got the newspaper in here. So everybody.
So were other girls trying to bring problems your way, like, your whatever?
Not necessarily problems, just more so questions.
Well,
and I mean, at that time, everything was still, like when I first got arrested, everything was still fresh. And I was still in that mindset that somebody came into my house and did this, because I didn't think that my baby daddy could do it. Like I was so blinded by whatever I had going on with him that I don't know. It took me 4 months of being in jail to even see all the red flags and realize, like, you need to take a step back, because this man really did do something.
You were young at the time, and you're still young now. And another thing, you got an 8 to 15 year suspended sentence, which you're on probation for, and that's where the violations come in, or the whatever they refer to them in Wyoming as. But he also got a suspended sentence, right? Or he got a little bit of time or something. What did he get, like a year?
He got 8 months in county jail, the 8 to 15, I believe, suspended sentence, and then like 4 or 5 years of probation.
Do you know anything about what's going on with him? Like, has he straightened his life up? Like, have you heard anything in that regard?
I don't really want to. I don't really know about him. Like, I know that how much of a manipulator and ass kisser he can be. So I do call him out on his shit too for that, because it's like probation. Me and him had to go to the same like treatment thing. I ended up having I missed one class or something. Probation wanted to revoke me. He missed 5, and probation was like, oh, it's okay, Justin. Just make sure they can get you back in. I'm sitting in jail while that motherfucker's, that just pissed me off. But I'm sitting in jail while he sits there, and he misses all these, So he's good at the manipulation. He's good at all that. I think he's almost off probation.
Let's go ahead and move on. You mentioned that you're sitting in there on this fresh charge, the drug charge, and you got a probation violation as well. You're going to get, there's the possibility you get found guilty, or you plead guilty to the drug charge, and then you're going to get some extra time for the violation. How many times have you violated the probation?
How many what?
Okay, so in my state, in Virginia, they call it a probation violation. If I was to bring back a charge, that would be like my first violation, and then a second violation. Like, how many times, I guess, have you violated your probation? Like,
It would be my second one. My first one was because I relapsed. My second one is because what was it? So I relapsed, not last year, but the year before I relapsed. Probation sent me to a halfway house, and I got kicked out of the halfway house. But I had put in for a whole bunch of treatments and stuff, but they denied me treatment and sent me to a halfway house.
you know, I hate to say this, but you're the type of person who really needs like some intensive treatment. You've been through a lot of things. You're so young. You don't give yourself much of a chance at all. And, you know, the addiction is heavy with you. Like it seems like when things don't go right, you're going to resort back to the addiction. Maybe that's the easy fix for the time.
Yeah. And and like in my letters to the treatment facilities, I explained to them, like, I use drugs as my security blanket, and I use it to escape reality because it makes things so much more easier. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to relive the past. Like, drugs is my go-to.
I'm going to do this one more time with you, if you're all right with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to call you right back.
All right.
Hey, Brittany.
Hey.
You know, I want to let you know that I do appreciate you sharing what you do share about your story. I know it can't be easy to talk about, but I definitely want to get, your side and make sure I'm getting that right. It took us a long time to get to the point that we are right now, where we got a lot more clarity on the situation. So I definitely appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. It's hard on me. It is, and it does bring, like, it makes me feel things that I don't want to feel. But I feel like it's better for what I think or anything. Like, I think and I feel about the situation. And like, there are people out here in Wyoming who have already put a name on me. And I mean, that's fine. But nobody's came to me and asked me about what actually happened.
Hold on. You said there are people who have done what?
They have, like, put a name on me, like, with whatever charge I have. You're just a baby.
Yeah. I thought you said they had put something else. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on a little bit. I don't want to stay on that. So I put $20 on your kiosk. I put $20 on your commissary. Did you get the commissary money too?
Yeah.
So are you able to order some things with that money now?
Yeah, I did. We had a commissary today.
Were you able to get the commissary today?
Yeah.
So talk to me about what you ordered. I'm curious to know what the commissary is like there.
So I just got some ramen noodles. What else did I get? I got some ramen noodles. I got some chips. Because like I said, you get the big bag of chips. But they didn't have any of the shebangs, so I stuck with the tortilla chips, which is okay.
Oh, they got the shebangs out there?
They do, but they didn't have any ordered. And I'm like, really?
So how much is the big bag of shebangs?
It's only like $2.50.
That's crazy because you can, but they're really hard to find out here. And sometimes you can pay pretty expensive to try to get them out here. But I had them in Virginia when I was locked up myself. Yeah. How much are the ramen noodles there?
40 cents.
40 cents?
Mm-hmm.
That ain't bad because look, I'm talking to other people from other states and they're paying like $1.09.
Yeah, that's what. So there is a girl in here from Indiana, and she said that the ramen noodles there, it's a lot.
Well, that's crazy. I'm glad that you were able to get a couple of things. And again, like I had mentioned, I got a bunch of people who are wanting to write to you. And it's my hope to put some people in contact with you and get you some pen pal support.
Yeah.
You had asked me in the message that you sent me, you said, when I told you there were a lot of people interested in writing to you, you said, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
Yeah. Because, you have those people there's some people who are really supportive and will try to help, like try to give you that kind of emotional support that you need. And then there's the people who will just bring your emotional and your mental all the way down.
So I try to screen folks as much as I can. I can't guarantee that everybody, I can't guarantee anybody that, that would never happen in any case, no matter what a person was in there for. But I would just imagine if somebody's going to take the time, hopefully they're going to take the time for the right reasons and not for some BS.
I agree.
Let's talk a little bit more about like what's going on in the pod with you. You mentioned that, your cellie's kind of crazy and you got to tiptoe around that situation.
Yeah, I actually did get my own room.
Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
That's a great thing because now I'm like, I get to be alone. And I mean, she's still here, but it's like at least I get that space because I was like roommates for her for about, I think, 2.5 months.
What is it like in there? Like, what's the atmosphere? Do most of the girls get along with each other? Is there a lot of bickering and drama?
So a lot of the times we all do get along. The roommate that I had, she's got some problems with people that are in here. So I mean, like, there's been a couple little bickers here and there, but other than that, it's really, like I said, Barbie boot camp.
I know you had mentioned that. That stuck with me for sure.
Yeah.
What about how many people are in there with you in total? I mean, not an exact number, but if you had to guess, like 10, 20.
I think there's 7 of us in here.
Oh wow, that's not very many at all.
No, there's not a lot of females that usually are like I've been in jail, like when my first stay in jail, I was in here and there was probably like 12.
Do you have friends in there, like anybody that you're kind of like doing your time with? We call it bidding in Virginia. That's how you bid. That's how you do your time. Do you have anybody that you're bidding with in there?
So there's another girl. Her name's Amanda. Me and her, we just got bed dates into a treatment facility here on the same day. So we kind of go to each other. I don't know. I'm not real big on talking about like how I'm doing emotionally and mentally. So I just let her kind of vent to me.
Hold on. You had mentioned you both just got bed dates to the same facility. So you've actually gotten accepted somewhere.
Yeah. So today I made a phone call to the treatment facility, one of the treatment facilities that I put in for. She gave me a bed date for the 24th of this month. But I'm praying and my fingers are crossed that the judge and the prosecutor will accept that.
What does your lawyer say, or you don't even know? You won't see your lawyer until court?
He wants me to plead guilty to possession, is what he's trying to say. And that they'll give me, like, they won't add any more time or anything like that. And then he wants to go into court and be like, hey, she has a bed date here, and see if the judge does it.
I mean, that doesn't sound like the worst idea. I mean, you're taking the initiative. You got that bed date. You plead guilty. You own it. I mean, there's no way you can't plead guilty if you got caught with it. I don't know your case. And I mean, I ain't no lawyer. I could be your jailhouse lawyer. I mean, at the very best. But,
all right. Me too.
Anyways, look, I see some tattoos on your hand. What you got tatted on your hand?
Oh, this one is a flower. It's to cover up. I got an ex-boyfriend's initials tattooed on me. And then this one says Faith. And then there's one that says Dreamer. And then my son's name. And then a little cross.
Y'all, a lot of the girls getting boyfriend and baby daddy names tattooed on them in there.
Oh shit! I hope not. I don't know. Everybody can see it though. They're like, "Does that say JR?" And I'm like, "That's supposed to be covered up."
Yeah, no shit, right? Well, that's awesome. At least that you've gotten in taking the initiative to try to get to this treatment facility. What would that be like? What's the deal with the facility?
So I did 9 months in it with my son about 2017 as part of my plea deal. I was in there for 9 months, and I'm not really sure if I think it'll be good for like my mental and like, cause they don't let me talk about my son really. They make me talk about my daughter. Like they try to bring that stuff out of you. So that's the only part that I'm like, that shit's hard. That shit's really hard for me. And then I just shut down. And like the reason I was in there for 9 months is because I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't speak to anybody for like 6-7 months. I finally got tired of being in there, and I started writing some papers.
So what was I going to say? Okay, let me ask this. I know we're getting short on time, but let me ask this. So, you know, you get another chance, whatever. You do this program. Let's say you get the program, you do it successfully, whatever. You get released. You know, what is your biggest pitfall? What always leads you back to, you know, addiction?
My son's dad.
So, I mean, I guess it's just, you know, the influence.
Yeah, it's like whenever I see him, though, I see like it's just my daughter. Like, you know, like I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know if he brings anger to me, hate. I don't know what it is, but there's something about that man that I'm just like, I'll pick up my son from him or something, and then I want to go use.
But he doesn't use, or does he?
No.
But y'all just don't get along or something like that? And he's a totally different person than your daughter's.
No. My son's dad is the one that I have the case with.
Oh, okay. So, but your daughter's father was somebody totally different. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was pregnant with my daughter when I met Justin.
Okay.
And
okay.
the time I was getting put in jail for the situation with Justin and my daughter, I was pregnant with my son.
I got you. That makes sense. All right. Well, look, forgive me for that confusion right there. Let me ask this. You know, as we get shorter on time here, I mentioned to you that I've done this video and that there is some outpouring of people who want to write to you. And, you know, for the most part, there's always negativity on a video for sure. I mean, people hate me. They just don't like me.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a reason for somebody to say something. In your case, people could be justified saying that because people are going to think what they want to think. You talk about that candidly. There's the potential that it was the kid's father who did this anyways. You were just there. Where I'm really going is, you know, what would you say to anybody who's watching this about you? I think I asked you this before, but what would you want to say to anybody, you know, when you hear that people want to reach out and write to you?
I think it's a cool thing. I really do. I just hope that people actually take the time to try to get to know me as a person, though. Not what they've read, not anything like that, because I'm not that person. I was somebody who was stupidly in love with this man who I thought loved my daughter, and obviously he didn't. You know, because I'm not a bad person. I might be fucked up in the head, but a lot of us are mentally fucked up. Like, nobody's perfect.
For sure. Well, like I said, I'm hopeful that people are going to reach out and take the time to get to know you. And I think that people want to do that. I think that a lot of things from the first visit that we did resonate with people. And I'm sure a lot of things from this one will as well. You know, one thing that always sticks out to me is you say that you feel like you're a lost cause. And it's my hope that anybody who takes the time to get to know you can help motivate you to start feeling like you really ain't. You know, none of us are. And if we believe that we are, well, then we just got that much more against us, you know, to start with.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm going to go ahead. Oh, yeah.
So there's one girl in here. There's one girl in here that she added your information. So the one girl that you sent the other one to, she didn't want to do it. But this girl that added, like I gave her your information, she added you. She wants to talk with you and stuff.
All right. Well, I'll try to get her on just as soon as I possibly can. Brittany, I'm going to wrap this up for now. I'll keep in contact with you via messages. And, you know, I'll try to schedule another visit with you next week sometime. All right.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, keep your head up in there, and I'm hoping that everything works out in your situation.
Thank you.
I'll talk with you soon, all right?
All right, bye.
Bye. Well, I think that went pretty well right there. I think we got a lot more clarity on her case, and if anybody wants to write to Brittany, visit the APS official website, apsofficial.com. You can find how to write her and to anybody else that I've featured here doing these random visits. Let me know what you guys think of all of this, and I look forward to talking with you guys again real soon.